Ju. Let us offer our greetings to our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Good morning, Heavenly Parent, true parents, to all our leaders, elders, brothers, and sisters. Good morning. Good morning to everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining our morning devotion. To our brothers and sisters in the center, you may have your seat. Let us begin our morning devotion. For our Hunduk reading, let us welcome our sister, Mariah Aparece.
Good morning, leaders, elders, brothers, and sisters. A reading from the book Mother of Peace, a memoir by Hak Jahan Moon. Chapter 4, God's light shines upon a path of thorns. At Belvedere in the summer of 2016, the celebration of the 40th anniversary of the Yankee Stadium rally brought to mind this entire history. Returning from those memories, I viewed the hundreds of happy interracial families gathered on the lawn at Belvedere. As I rose to the podium, I set aside the emotions attached to that day of celebration and considered the future. Standing and speaking with a heart of grateful love, I let our members know that there is still much work to do. We cannot allow ourselves to be satisfied with those victories from decades ago. At the end of the day, I lingered at Belvedere. A summer rain fell upon the lawn, and once again, deep in my heart, I felt the call to focus my mind and continue on the path toward a world of hope and happiness as the Mother of Peace. A song of victory rang out from Danbury. My husband and I were well aware of the many who opposed us. The charge of brainwashing was a recurring accusation. Such scurrilous criticism always followed my husband and me. But such is the story of God's history, and we understood why. The movement against us in the United States reached its crescendo in the late 1970s. The Washington Monument Rally was the tipping point for those who hoped our movement would fail, and critics and fearmongers now envisioned the unification principle spreading like wildfire throughout America. Donald Fraser, a congressman from Minnesota, took the lead on Capitol Hill, opening a hearing of House Foreign Affairs Committee. We would be accused of involvement in a political scandal nicknamed Koreagate in the press. It had nothing to do with us, except that we were from Korea, but it was gaining publicity for members of Congress. After Congressman Fraser chaired the hearing that investigated without result our movement in March and April of 1978, he failed in his campaign to win a seat in the U.S. Senate. In 1980, however, he became mayor of Minneapolis, and he later signed a proclamation welcoming my husband and me to that fair city. With a congressional committee coming up empty-handed, those who wanted to convict my husband of something, anything, asked the Internal Revenue Service to investigate us. Beginning in the late 1970s, our church was subjected to a full IRS audit. We opened our books, confident that we had done nothing wrong. For 2 years, we even provided a private office for an IRS team in our Manhattan headquarters building. I have lived a life of sacrifice and service for America and the world, Father Moon declared publicly. I have nothing to be ashamed of. This case is the result of racism and religious prejudice. Although Father Moon had done nothing wrong, on October 15, 1981, the U.S. District Attorney in the Southern District of New York, on the third attempt with a grand jury, finally succeeded in lodging charges of tax evasion against him. Our lawyer knew that the newspapers and television stations' persistent attacks on our movement rendered it impossible to convene an unbiased jury of New York City citizens. Also, it would be hard that could understand the complexities of such a tax case. Father Moon therefore requested a bench trial, but the court did not accept this motion. In pleading their case, the government lawyers confused everyone in the courtroom, no one more than the members of the jury. On May 18, 1982, the jury handed down their verdict. My husband was found guilty of owing a total of $7,300 in taxes accrued over a 3-year period, nearly 10 years prior. It is routine for people who underpay their taxes by far greater amounts to simply pay a fine. But for Father Moon, an evangelist from Korea, the judge pounded his gavel and pronounced his decision. I sentence you to 18 months in prison and a $25,000 fine. Upon this announcement, my husband immediately stood up, smiled, and walked across the courtroom with his hand outstretched to shake the hand of the government's lead prosecutor. The lawyer was startled. He turned his back on my husband, stuffed his papers in his briefcase, and walked out of the courtroom. American churches were paying close attention to our case. Holding church funds under the name of the pastor was common practice for them, and this became the basis of the accusation against my husband. The government was prosecuting someone for what was a general church practice, and if they could send my husband to jail for that, it could send anyone to jail. When Father Moon was pronounced guilty, they rose up. With one voice, the National Council of Churches, United Presbyterian Church in the USA, the American Baptist Churches in the USA, the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and the Unitarian Universalist Association, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the National Conference of Black Mayors, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights, the National Association of Evangelical, and many others called the decision an obvious oppression of religion. With them in our ranks, we founded the Coalition for Religious Freedom and Minority Alliance International, which organized rallies throughout the country to protest the verdict. Conscientious people of all denominations and political views recognized oppression when they saw it and demonstrated on behalf of liberty. On the foundation of this bipartisan support, we submitted an appeal to the United States Supreme Court. To our great disappointment, in May 1984, the Supreme Court washed its hands of it, thereby affirming the sentence. My husband's response: "It is the will of God." He was not concerned about going to prison. He had already turned the court's decision into the next step of God's plan to awaken America from spiritual death. He was incarcerated on July 20, 1984, at the Federal Correctional Institution in Danbury, Connecticut. This whole affair was not about taxes. It was about the world's most powerful nation having a panic attack over the growth and influence of our movement. It was a misuse of governmental and media power induced by fear and ignorance. But God always works in mysterious ways. The Christian community united with us as it never had before. Major clergies are outraged that what could be characterized as an administrative mistake, if that, could be punished by 18 months in prison. Thousands of clergy throughout the United States protested. Hundreds spent a week in Washington, D.C., in the Common Suffering Fellowship. They studied the principle and America's tradition of religious freedom, visited their congressional representatives, demonstrated outside the White House and proclaimed that when the government threw Father Moon in prison, it had thrown them in there as well. Besides supporting this domestic ecumenical activism, Unification Church members around the world prayed unceasingly. Having no experience of the earliest years in Korea, they could not digest the reality that the Lord would be in prison. My husband and I comforted them. From now, a new world will begin. Father Moon counseled our members, our family, and me. Now, not only America, but all humanity will be with us, and the drumbeat of hope will sound throughout the world. July 20, 1984 is a day I wish I could erase from history. On that day, my husband left our home and was incarcerated in Danbury prison. As we departed at 10 that evening, he gave words of hope and encouragement to our members who had gathered at Belvedere. With several members, we drove to the prison. I was resolved not to reveal my emotions. Father Moon had asked the members to dispel their anger and sadness. Do not cry for me, he told them. Pray for America. A feeling of deep darkness descended as we watched Father Moon enter the prison. We stood for a long time at the entrance, as if my husband might just turn around and come back out. With a sigh, I consoled everyone and we turned and walked away. My husband was embarking upon an unfair prison term in a foreign land, and I knew that I had to forgive the people who had put him there. It was our opportunity to practice our movement's most fundamental ethic: love your enemies and live for their sake. Sacrificing oneself even in the face of death and going even further to forgive and love those who accuse and deceive is what we came to call the Danbury Spirit. The Danbury Spirit is to give and give even after everything has been taken away, to forgive those involved, then to persevere, knowing something greater is bound to occur in accord with the heavenly will. The road was dark on our nighttime journey home. My experiences during more than 10 years of living in the United States had been more numerous than the pebbles along the riverbank. There were the speaking tours in which we had traversed the continent. There were the path-breaking conferences that reshaped the world of scientists, professors, theologians, and clergy. There was the youth with boundless energy welcoming new life in God's love. That road had been strenuous but incredibly rewarding, and in that light, my husband's imprisonment was a painful pill to swallow, a heavy cross to bear. As a wife, I also was dealing with personal pain. My husband was nearing 65 years of age and facing prison life by himself in the United States, barely Jew.
June. Let us give a hand and appreciate our true parents' words. And let us also uh, thank our sister Mariah for reading. Thank you so much, Sister Mariah. Yes, and now to share his gratitude points, let us welcome Reverend Reynaldo Cloud.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Morning, brothers and sisters.
Good morning, Pastor.
Well, today I would like really to thank. I want to give my 10 points of appreciation. an honor for us to appreciate our heavenly parent. Because first, as I said, I'm so thankful that the heavenly parent is our parent. Because as the Bible says in Jeremiah, he, before we form in our mother's womb, he knew us. And before we were conceived, he called us and sanctified us. So he has a great plan, and it happened that we able to have that good relationship with our heavenly parents. Second, I thank for the guidance of our true parents, heaven, earth, and humankind, for showing us the importance of acknowledging our heavenly parent, that we need to come back to him as a filial child. And I really appreciate this guidance, because it really helped me to understand and develop my good relationship with my heavenly parent. Third, I would like to thank our leaders here in Palawan, our provincial director, Joel Concepcion, and my companion as mobilizer, Pastor Hermes Lita, and other officials of Mimarupa, whom that I met them and introduced me in this movement last December 21 and 22, 2019. In the occasion of Asian Leadership Conference here in Palawan, that I able to meet our leaders, our national leaders, and that was the first time that I heard and understand the importance of our relationship with our heavenly parent. And I was really moved by the teaching expounded by Dr. Kettle and Dr. Julius, the importance of our life, the purpose of our life, and the purpose which Dr. Young founded also. So I really thankful for that day, December 21 and 22, 2019. Fourth, I would like also to appreciate at my age, I'm still young, at the age of 68, I able to meet this movement that changed the course of my life, especially in terms of our ministry, the mission of life, and attitude towards different religious organization, religious group, other people in the world, that I need to acknowledge that we should be one family under God. Five, I would like also to thank our heavenly parent for providing me a wonderful family, a good, very happy family, a loving wife, Belen. I had a daughter, having that also a three cute and active children or grandchildren whom we always miss when we are in mission area. Six, I would like to appreciate as a mobilizer, experiencing different challenges in the field that makes me more refined, like a stone in the shoreline of Palawan. That big waves of the ocean grind them together to become smooth and beautiful. Those challenges makes me more refined of my personality. Seven, I appreciate as a member of the movement that I able to feel the need of the movement to keep it going. I always look at the situation that the Heavenly Parent providing means, financial means, but it has a limitation. And just give us an idea of having that income generating project here in Palawan as a sewage farming in Puerto Princesa to provide financial assistance to our government. And I'm so thankful that he's just really providing a good harvest in our IGP. Number 8, I appreciate our Heavenly Parent for the past 5th Rally of Hope, million Rally of Hope. As a mobilization, we able to meet former councilor, former vice mayor, and former GAB commissioner, Game and Amusement Board commissioner. Now he is the manager of RMN radio station in Palawan. That they able to help us to broadcast live our Rally of Hope in 13 stations in Palawan, which is Alik Paglumutan. I thank Heavenly Parent that we're able to meet these people and help also to propagate the mission and vision of our movement. Now I really appreciate the opportunity that we are able to help and work together with the young people, headed by a Flor here in Palawan, Flor Carias, that working with them, we feel that we are still young to prepare for our next generation. So working with them, acting like a young people, but thinking of their future as an older brother. Lastly, yesterday, I really appreciate the Heavenly Parent for guiding and helping us. We attended the Barangay Council meeting of Barangay Buena Vista here in Puerto Princesa. I presented the movement, the mission, the vision, and our involvement and focus on what we are doing. I tried to explain that these things are happening all over the world, requesting them to recognize the UPF and not only recognize but endorse the movement through the resolution with no hassle, no discussion upon hearing our presentation. They approve our request, giving us a protection and the resolution ordinance of the protection had been given to us. So I always appreciate the works of our Heavenly Parent that they try to help us and give us guidance in doing all these things. Lastly, I would like to appreciate the support of these people in the community, especially this coming March 13 and 14, we will be having a mangrove plantation in our seaweed farming area. Along the shoreline, we'll be having a mangrove plantation in accordance with our program of billion of trees planted. So I thank our Heavenly Parent for guiding, helping us, and encouraging us, giving us wisdom how and what to do in this mission field. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Pastor Cloud, for sharing your 10 points of gratitude. Let us give hand to our Reverend Reynaldo Cloud. Thank you so much po. Now to help us to prepare to receive God's words, let us hear first an offering song from one of our second generation. Let us welcome Sister Sunwa Liana.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. My name is Suna Sofia Niana, and today I'll be singing to you an original song by my elder sister, Julie Julia Niana. This song is entitled True Love.
Why do tears roll from our eyes? It's either happiness or grief. Why does poor and rich? Why no equality? Many questions should be answered in this complicated world. What's missing in this world? Must it be true love? True love is a simple word, but mean a very big thing. True love is a wish of mine and a dream of everyone. True love must stand out, no more selfishness and pride. True love, come along, oh, come along. Religious groups fight each other, never humble down at once. Why there's war and selfishness posted everywhere. Many people suffer now, but no one's even lend a hand. What's missing in this world? Must it be true love? True love is a simple word, but mean a very big thing. True love is a wish of mine and a dream of everyone. True love must stand out, no more selfishness and pride. True love, come along, oh, come along. We dream to live in a peaceful world, a world where people cares for each other, where love is change begin. Let us stand up tall and raise our voice, 'cause together we can. True love is a simple word, but mean a very big thing. True love is a wish of mine and a dream of everyone. True love must stand out, no more selfishness and pride. True love, come along, oh, come along. True love must stand down, no more selfishness and pride. True love, come along, oh, come along. True love, come along, oh, come along.
Yes, amazing voice. Let us give a hand to our sister Sunwa Liana. That is a original composition by her sister Julie Liana. Very talented second generation. Yes, now I think we are all prepared to receive a message from heaven, because of that wonderful voice that we hear this morning, right? Adu. Without further ado, to give us a guidance this morning, let us welcome our beloved national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halod.
Thank you very much, our Sister Yeb. Good morning to our beloved Heavenly Parent and to our two parents of heaven and earth and all humankind. To all our respected and beloved blessed families, all our leaders, brothers and sisters, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ohayo gozaimasu. Annyeong hashimnika. Today, really very inspiring. I would like to really thank our sister Sonhwa for this really very beautiful and really touching and really wonderful song. Yeah, she's joining us now. She's in Japan. Yeah, so thank you very much, Sonhwa, and also Chuli for composing this very nice and really amazing song. I know everybody is very inspired, di ba? So yeah, I think it's good for every morning we can listen from beautiful songs, especially our second generations. They have really original songs they compose and really offer to our heavenly parent and to true parents, really inspiring songs. Also, I would like to really thank our Pastor Cloud, yeah, for very beautiful 10 points of appreciation. He was saying that in December 21 and 22, 2019, he could be able to listen to these beautiful teachings and lectures. That was the time that with Dr. Yong, Dr. Kittle, Sir Julius, we went together in Palawan, and we had this Asian Leadership Conference. And then that time, many religious leaders attended, and also many educators. I really thank our Dr. Paul Uba and Ate Chiumi for their work, and all our Blessed Central families in Palawan. Maraming salamat po. Thank you for all your work and foundations, all our pastors. There are many pastors na po doon now really working and really testifying about true parents. Really, thank you for really setting a model. Yeah, so maraming salamat po. Yeah. So this morning, I would like to share with you this topic entitled I'm also counting how many days already we are doing morning devotion. We started actually January 29. So today is like 37th day. We are doing 37th day already of morning devotion. And then also Sir Julius asked me to make some report about this one because Reverend Hori is making report to True Mother. So also I made report about our morning devotion. And we have about 500 to 600 average brothers and sisters who are attending. And also I'm really thankful for the reflections that was shared. I included in that report. Ate Grace Mayo sent reflection last night, even though it's very late. And also our sister Judy from Bohol. So thank you very much for sharing your reflections. So anyway, every day we are really inspired with the words of our beloved true parents. So this morning, I would like to share with you this topic entitled, Blessed are the Meek. In the Bible, we could read from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. So it was clearly stated in the Bible. So it is almost the same with humility. So when we say meekness, it's like, being quiet, being gentle. Almost the same with the humility, being obedient, being humble. So today I would like to share with you this topic based on the words of our beloved true parents. So Father said, the foundations of God's love. God's love dwells upon the foundations of meekness, humility, fasting, sacrifice, and even martyrdom. So Father is saying that the foundation of God's love dwells upon this kind of traits or characteristic of people: meekness, humility, fasting, sacrifice, even martyrdom. So we can see that all the things about putting down or lowering down oneself and really being obedient, really sacrificing, really being humble, this kind of characteristics. This is where the foundations of God's love. God's love dwells with this kind of peoples, characteristic. Father said, higher religions teach the way of sacrifice. The higher the religion, the less it stresses the self, and the more it stresses meekness, humility, and one step further, sacrifice and service. Why must it do that? Those are the laws of the original homeland. People are like wanderers searching for the original homeland. To train people in the laws of that homeland, the higher religions teach the way of sacrifice. So we can really see, or we can say that the religion is, higher than the others if the religion is really teaching these laws of the original homeland. Father is saying higher religions teach the way of sacrifice, right? So Father said these are the laws of the original homeland. So people are continuously searching. So people are like wanderers, Father said, searching for the original homeland. That's why religions were born, because of the fall of Adam and Eve. Religions should guide people and teach people about meekness, humility, sacrifice, and service. So we can see Father saying the religions who are teaching these things, these are really higher religions, right? So actually all religions are teaching about this, but because of now the situations that we are facing, also many religions now are being corrupted. They are already losing the original purpose. That's why religions now are collapsing, because they are losing already the main purpose of why they exist. It should be to guide people, teach people to be meek, to be humble, right? And teach people to sacrifice and offer service, because these are the laws of the original homeland. This is the original purpose of religious leaders of all the religions that are existing. But because they are losing the original purpose, that's why people now are confused. They don't know where to go. But actually, this should be the purpose of religion. That's why Father is saying, higher religions teach the way of sacrifice. That's why actually without, because of also no other way, Father needs to establish in the beginning religion, right? Father established a church, our unification church, that really, teaches really the highest in the beginning. All brothers and sisters, all our elders have gone through this kind of course, right? Continuous, fasting, continuous sacrifice, continuous service. In the beginning, we can really see the great foundation when True Father have started our church, our unification church, right? So our group really teaches the highest, of level of sacrifice for people. So this is really true religion, teaching the laws of original homeland. Father said, Satan's basic nature is arrogance and wrath. Satan's basic nature is arrogance and wrath. That is the way he deals with people in the world. Jesus, on the other hand, came before the people with meekness and humility. Satan ultimately acknowledged Jesus because he knew that humility is in accord with the heavenly law. When you act with gentleness and humility, the satanic world naturally surrenders. That's why our basic and most fundamental enemy is arrogance. This is the nature of Satan, Father said. So Father said, when you act with gentleness and humility, the satanic world naturally surrenders. That's why as fallen human beings, it is deeply rooted in us, arrogance. This is the nature that we have inherited. So how to be humble, how to be meek, this is really important, right? So if we, are arrogant, then always Satan control us. Satan is always on our side. So that's why Father said here, Jesus, on the other hand, came before the people with meekness and humility. Satan ultimately acknowledged Jesus because he knew that humility is in accord with the heavenly law. So that's why, how can we inherit this kind of character, this kind of attitude? How can we be meek, right? How can we be gentle? How can we be humble, right? This kind of attitude we need to inherit, right? This is in accord with
the heavenly law. So if we practice this kind of lifestyle, Satan will run away from us. Satan will leave us, right? So this is really very important for us to know and understand, and most especially to practice. That's why Father said, we have to go to the place of suffering. We need to go through training. So through this practice, we can develop meekness, we can develop humbleness, and then we can eliminate arrogance, which Satan's use, right, to control us and to bring us away from Heavenly Parent. Aju? That's why Father said, when you act with gentleness and humility, the satanic world naturally surrenders. This is amazing. So when we act with gentleness and humility, the satanic world naturally surrender. So even though we are accomplishing things, in our life of faith, in this course with true parents, we need to learn from nature, as what we have studied yesterday. We could see that in nature, as nature grows up, as nature, like the bamboo tree, as the bamboo goes up, the more it tumbles down, right? The more it bows down. The same is true. That's why we need to avoid this Satan's trap. That's as we accomplish things, in our life, then we have to be more humble, so that naturally satanic world will bow down before us. We're going to have natural surrender. Aju? So Father said, higher religions teach the way of sacrifice. Jesus knew this principle, and therefore he assured the posture of gentleness and humility. You too can open up a new way to reach God when you remain always gentle and humble. Examine yourself. Are you living by Jesus' teachings of gentleness and humility, meekness and obedience, and sacrifice and service? If you are not practicing these teachings in your daily life, know that you are still belong to Satan's tribe. So this is very clear. Father said, how can we know? So we need to examine ourselves. Are you living by Jesus' teachings of gentleness and humility, meekness and obedience, and sacrifice and service? Father said, if you are not practicing these teachings in your daily life, know that you still belong to Satan's tribe. So even though we are already blessed, we receive the blessing, if we still, we practice arrogance in our life. That's why all of us now, Father is reminding us, we need to look deep inside us, how we are living our life every day. Are we still arrogant? Are we not, practicing these teachings, or are we already practicing these teachings? Are we gentle? Are we humble? Are we meek? Are we obedient? Are we living a life of sacrifice and service? So if we are living this kind of life, then we are already separated from Satan. We are already under God's direct dominion, right? We are already living in accordance to God's will and desire. But if, Father said, if we are not practicing this, so we need to know and reflect that we still belong to Satan's tribe, Father said. So we need to reflect and really, determine to change our way of life. Aju? That's why Father is teaching us, live for the sake of others, continue to sacrifice. Then this is the way for us to go back to Heavenly Parent, that Satan will leave us. Aju? That's why, we can meet many, religious people, religious leaders, because of, maybe they have big congregations, they have, many people following them. Sometimes we can see the character they have. Are they religious leaders? Sometimes you are thinking, right? So, really, religions should, teach this and especially practice this, religious leaders. So we are all following true parents, right? So we have to really practice these things that true parents is teaching us in our everyday life. So this time really true parents is giving us this opportunity to really evaluate ourselves and really practice these teachings in our daily life. Aju? So this is really great chance and opportunity for all of us. So now we can evaluate and understand where we are standing now. And then now Heavenly Parents is giving us the opportunity to change, develop, and evaluate ourselves and really practice these things in our life. Aju? Aju. Father said, Kingdom of Heaven is a world full of humility and love. Father said, I examined the book of life in heaven. I saw that the people whose names are recorded in that book were all simple and lowly. Millionaires, famous preachers, and politicians are not found there. So the Garden of Eden is not a world filled with disputes. It is not a world where people promote themselves, but a world full of humility and love. This is actually very interesting. Father said, he examined the book of life in heaven. And then Father said, I saw that the people whose names are recorded in that book were all simple and lowly. Millionaires, even famous preachers, and politicians are not found there. So what does Father means? So that's why only people who are really, putting themselves in low profile, people who are humble, who are gentle, who are obedient, these are the people that can be found in this book of life in heaven. Father saying here, even the famous preachers we know, we admire, they're very good in talking. They're very good in preaching the words of God. But Father said, they are not found in this book of life. Why? Because of this, they thought they are knowledgeable. They know God's words more than anyone. So what happens to them? They became very arrogant, right? And then the millionaires, they thought, I have everything. I can buy anybody. I can buy everything in my life. These politicians. So they are not found in this book of life in heaven, Father said. But only those who are simple people and lowly. That's why our unification movement, our beloved true Father, the example that he have shown us, how much persecution that today we are reading, right? We have read in True Mother's autobiography, this very painful course in True Father's life, in True Parents' life. How much we were humiliated, how much we were persecuted. But Father, never shown, anything against people, but always keep humble and always grateful, right? And always thinking that this is God's will. Really, our true Father, our true Mother, they're amazing. They're our ultimate example and model on earth, showing us every step of the way how to really live life of faith, right? The more we grow and develop, the more we humble. That's why, people shouldn't see that, we are, telling them what is, showing them and really having this pride of we have accomplished many things, but always we remain low profile, right? And then this is the way to win the enemy. This is the way that we can, embrace all people, that all people can come to us. If we started to set certain, standard and having pride on what we have accomplished, then people start to leave us, right? But because we maintain this, so our true Mother, when true Mother, every time true Mother speaks, about, in front of people, in front of millions and billions of people, right? So really embracing people. We are not showing, having pride with all the accomplishments that we have, but we still remain, humble, gentle, right? And very, really lowly. And really trying to reach out all people so that they can come together with us. Really amazing, right? So Father said, the Garden of Eden is not a world filled with disputes. It is not a world where people promote themselves, but a world full of humility and love. That's why this kind of environment we need to build, that all people, honor each other. Despite your position that you are taking, your responsibilities, everybody, we have to embrace each other. Love each other. This is the world that we are creating. This is kingdom of heaven, Father said. This is a world full of humility and love. That's why this is a really good reminder for us. Sometimes, we are, because of the things we are, our positions, our responsibilities, sometimes we forget this. That's why it's really good, True Parents is continuously reminding us. This is the way to really build kingdom of heaven. We have to show the world. And then naturally people will come to us. Really, this is amazing, right? This is really great and really amazing blessing that True Parents is giving us. Father said, how can we hold to individualism? How can we hold on to individualism? There is not one part of us that we can claim as our very own. When we were conceived from our parents' love and grew, beginning from our mother's ovum, 99.999% of our being was our mother's bone, blood and flesh. And the other 0.001% was added from our father's sperm. No one at the time of their birth has the concept, I belong to myself. So, can you imagine? Nothing really belongs to us. Nothing really belongs to individual. We came to this earth, we exist in this world because of our parents. 99.999% from our mother, and then 0.001 from our father. So nothing really belongs to us. So no one can say that I came here on my own. Right? That's why we don't have, Father said, how can we hold on to individualism? Everything belongs to Heavenly Parent and belongs to our parent. Nothing belongs to us. That's why, how come this world now is practicing individualism? Young people are denying their parents. Young people are denying God. Young people are denying, people around them. They just focus on their own. This is completely destructive, right? This is completely distracting the law of the universe. That's why now people are suffering because of this individualistic mindset, because of this practice, right? If only people will realize this, understand that, even, the course of our life, we cannot just decide how we live our lives. Because even before we were born, already the Creator decided where our life should go. Aju, this is really amazing. That's why tayo minsan we are struggling. What is next? Where to go in my life? We need to go back to this very origin. We need to go back to this very point. We were all created by God through our parents, right? So we were born with a very clear and, very clear purpose. We cannot just decide on our own. Aju, because this life of ours doesn't belong to us. Right? We just borrowed this life. And then we don't know when this life will be taken away. Aju? That's why sometimes we are confused with what to do in our life. So we need to communicate to God so that God can, reveal to us where to go through our able figures, through our parents in our movement, all our leaders who are guiding us directly. So it's actually very clear, right? Like all other creatures. Like for example, the phone we are using every day. What is the purpose of that? Very clear. That this cell phone, once it's not fulfilling already its purpose, then it has no value anymore. The same is true with human beings. If human beings is not fulfilling the original value, then fulfilling the original purpose, human beings has no value, right? They're not fulfilling that original purpose. That's why we have to go back when we are in confusion. Many times, sometimes, we're confused where to go, what to do. We need to go back to this origin that nothing belongs to us. Aju, that God created us and with a very clear purpose. This is amazing guidance of true parents. Father said, arrogance was Satan's original nature. At the fall, evil began first and rose up. So we must carry out a strategy to push evil down and pull goodness up. How shall we carry this out? First, we must take control of our arrogance. The fall occurred when the archangel Lucifer and human beings pushed God aside and attempted to elevate themselves. Arrogance was Satan's original nature. Arrogance is the desire to elevate oneself without regard to law, discipline, obligations, or the effect on the surrounding environment. It is the desire to live unconstrained by justice or law. So this is, Father said, arrogance was Satan's original nature. So how to control, how to push down evil and, raise up goodness, Father said. We need to control our arrogance because this is where Satan works through us, through our arrogance. So we need to control this, Father said. So arrogance is, bringing yourself up, elevating oneself, disregarding the law, discipline, obligations, and then without concerning about your environment. Really, this is just self-centered thinking. thinking just about yourself without, neglecting everything. Just thinking about yourself. So it is the desire to live unconstrained by justice or law. So how can we eliminate arrogance in our life, in ourselves? Right? So how to do this? That's why really we need to, put evil up and really raise goodness up. How they said, right? So this is really, really important. That's why the training we are going through in our life, the challenges. That's why we need to take all, things that is like against us. We need to take these things gratefully. Sometimes, we were persecuted, we were rejected in many situations in our own families, sometimes even in our own community or in our, while doing our responsibilities, our mission. So it is good actually. We have to take these things positively and gratefully. This will help us control our arrogance and really live in accordance to Heavenly Parents' desire. Aju? Aju. Father said we must suppress arrogance and take on the quality of humility. How do we describe a person who lives in accordance with the law? Do we say he is arrogant? No, we say he or she is an honest person. We must put a stop to behavior that ignores the law and disregards one's position and surroundings. We must suppress arrogance and take on the quality of humility. That's why it's really, really important. That's why, in one structure, in one system, that's why system and structure also is very, very important. And then we need to abide, with the system, with the structure. This will help us suppress, our arrogance. If you understand fully your position, also it will help you. So that's why Father is saying how to describe a person, who lives in accordance with the law. He is someone that is, living a life of honesty. An honest person. That's why in our life of faith, sa practice din po natin. That's why we shouldn't compromise things. Diba? Sabi nga ni Father, if we compromise things, if we started to create, small things where Satan can use, and then naturally, Father said, when you do something, even very small evil, it will open up to bigger one. This is how Satan works. That's why if we compromise even this very small thing in our life of faith, kaya nga, I remember, previous guidance of our former content, regional president before, many, guidance he have given us, even, us directly. That's why we need to know and classify very clearly sa buhay natin. We need to be wise sa buhay po natin. As people living our life of faith, there are things sometimes we neglect, maliliit na bagay. But actually, this is how Satan is working and opening more challenges and difficulties in our life. That's why we have to be very wise sa buhay po natin. We shouldn't neglect and we shouldn't compromise things. If wrong, that is absolutely wrong. You cannot make things right, right? You cannot make wrong things right. This is really important. Kaya nga, we need to really be very wise. We can see many things in our, minsan sinasabi natin, anyway, okay lang yan. But actually, there are things that is really not okay. We need to correct things sa buhay natin. Maliliit lang na bagay po yan. But actually, this is the way Satan, really slowly take control over us. That's why it's really very important. Honesty, sabi ni Father, it begins, by practicing honesty. So we must put a stop to behavior that ignores the law and disregards one's position and surroundings. So sometimes, we disregard positions. Nakakalimutan din natin yung position natin, yung responsibility natin, and then we always insist, this is right, this is right. We insist, actually, this way, Satan started to work and bring us away from God. So Father said, we must suppress our arrogance. So why we insist sometimes? Because of this kind of nature we have, because of arrogance, because of self-centered thinking. So Father said, we need to suppress arrogance and take on the quality of humility. Humility, we need to be humble. We need to understand where we are standing. So based on this, we can suppress arrogance. We can eliminate this really very dangerous nature that is deeply rooted in us. That's why this makes our life very difficult. Aju? That's why starting from honesty, Father said, and then disregarding, eliminating this behavior of ignoring the law, disregarding one's position and surrounding. This is important reminder of true parents. That's why kahit po maliliit lang na bagay, we need to really clearly, minsan nga, chine-check ko, minsan, kahit lang, as a member of Unification, as a member of Heavenly Parents Community, meron tayong clear na standard din ng membership. Minsan marami tayong namimiss. Namimiss natin minsan yung mga basic things sa buhay natin. So, and then we are continuously inviting and witnessing people. Minsan tayo nga sa record, hindi nga tayo talaga member. Diba? These are small and minsan nadidisregard natin ito. But actually, when we check, hindi pala tayo member ng movement natin. But we are, in the field, we are witnessing. Ibig sabihin, there are small things that we neglect. Right? We neglect things sometimes. Kaya nga, in order for us to accomplish great things, we have to be very keen to small things. Sabi nga, big things starts from small beginnings. Sa Milo, merong mga kanta na ganito. Kaya nga, small things, sometimes we need to reflect and, see things and do things in accordance to the proper way. This is important. Starting with honesty, sabi ni Father. And then starting by abiding the law. Not disregarding one's position or surroundings. This is important points, I believe. These are important points. And then this will help us really suppress our arrogance and then develop our humility. Adju, these are important. Father said, you should discover the self that can accept tribulation gratefully. When you are in a high position, there is no way to unite your mind and body. It is better to let yourself be stepped on. This is important. Father said, when you are in a high position, there is no way to unite your mind and body. It is better to let yourself be stepped on. God has trampled on me for 40 years, lest I get above myself. As you are stepped on, those elements in you that want to exalt themselves are smashed and brought back to unity. Do you understand this? You should be cursed, trampled on, and mistreated, just like the vagrant bamboo hatkin. Regardless of how you are treated, you should discover the self that can accept all these tribulations gratefully. That's why, being in the high position also really very dangerous. Father said there is no way to unite your mind and body. Especially, staying in that position, you become very arrogant, right? And then you always thinking you are the ones that is right. Sometimes, minsan tayo rin mga magulang, anak ka lang, ako ang tama kasi ako ang magulang, right? These are the attitude sometimes. But Father said we need to let ourselves being stepped on and being trampled on, right? So these elements in you that exalt themselves are smashed and brought about and back to unity. So if we live our life with this kind of attitude, sabi ni Father, as you are stepped on, those elements in you that you want to exalt themselves are smashed and brought back into unity. All the fallen natures that we have are being smashed, sabi ni Father. And then our original nature are brought back into unity. So do you understand? Father said, you should curse, trampled on, and be mistreated, just like the vagrant bamboo hatkim. So Father said, regardless of how you are treated, you should discover the self that can accept all these tribulations gratefully. That's why when we went through fundraising, witnessing, kung ano-ano pa pong mission in the past, di po ba? Lalo na noon na matindi pa po ang persecution. But Father said, you should discover the self in you, your original self, that can accept all these tribulations gratefully. Kaya nga po tayo, we were trained. Kaya kahit saan po tayo pumunta ngayon, sino man ang kinakaharap natin, whether we are mistreated or, neglected, minsan, or rejected, it doesn't really affect us anymore, right? We are already used to it. We are just grateful and, we just continue. Anyway, these are foundations we are thinking. And then, how can we accept all these things gratefully? That's why very, very important, Father said, how to discover this. If we couldn't discover pa itong mga bagay na ito in our life, if we are continuously complaining sa buhay natin, we are continuously, disregarding small things, still always we criticize people, and then we are still not grateful in our hearts, then we still need to continue to find this gratitude in our hearts despite the situations we are in. Adju? So this is now the time, this second 7-year course, this time of pandemic, this is really great blessing that God and true parents has given us to really evaluate ourselves. As long-time member of our church, of our movement already, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, where am I now? God has given us. You have to stop and evaluate, check yourself. Now, this is great opportunity that was given to all of us. We have to find that self, Father said, that can accept all tribulations gratefully. Instead of, complaining with our situations. But how can we fill our hearts with gratitude? Every day as we wake up in the morning, the whole day, how we can feel grateful. Of course, it's really not easy, right? But with all the blessings and grace we have received from God and through parents, what more we could ask for? The blessing we have received, our wonderful families. I could hear from 10 points of appreciation how grateful we are. We could receive the blessing. We could have our God-given spouse. So we could have these wonderful children. How we could have this wonderful family. When you look at our society, people, families are suffering. They are not happy. Husband and wife are fighting. Parents and children are fighting together. But us, because of true parents, we could know the principle earlier than others. We could have this kind of family we have now. What more could we ask for? Why we are still complaining in our life? When I think about this, how can I give more to Heavenly Parent, to true parents? Even my entire life is not enough to give back all the grace and blessing that I have received. How can I complain? Yeah, of course, it's still in my mind and my heart still complaining. But how to digest and change this to gratitude towards Heavenly Parent, towards true parents? Aju, so how to discover this? Father said, I never ask blessings in my prayers. I never asked for blessings in my prayers. I never said, God, please give me some money. I thought I need to suffer more since I have not undergone enough hardships. God likes such thinking. When I think about this, I was really actually moved. Can you imagine when I just imagine through father's life, through mother's life? When I just imagine their life, I'm thinking maybe they have, the right to ask something from Heavenly Parent. They have given everything. They have sacrificed their entire life, their entire family. But can you imagine, Father said, I never asked for blessings from God in his prayers. He never said that, God, please give me some money. Father said, what true mother, what true parents have taught. Father said, I thought I need to suffer more since I have not undergone enough hardships. God likes such thinking. Can you imagine? If we compare our experience, the difficulties that true parents have gone through to our life, our experience is nothing. Just comparing to our true parents. Right? So that's why I'm telling you, what more we can ask for from Heavenly Parent. That's why how can we, pray for blessing? How can we pray that God will give us these things? But we never have done enough. And never we could do enough. Actually, our entire life, we can never do enough for God, for all the blessings, and love and grace and forgiveness that we have received. This is really, we cannot pay. There's no amount of money. There's no amount of effort we can pay the grace and blessing we have received being blessed family. Can you imagine true parents, Heavenly Parent, have took full responsibility in our life? That's why Father said, once you are blessed, right? Once you are blessed, many of us sometimes we couldn't really understand, maybe deeply the value of the blessing we have received from true parents. It was already taught to us many times, blessed families has their own will, once you go to the spiritual world. Actually, even blessed family sometimes commit something, Still, we are living in that realm of blessed families because through the blessing, true parents took full responsibility in our life. We cannot imagine this. We cannot imagine this. That's why, what more can we ask for? That's why all the things that we are doing, how can we be arrogant with the things that we are accomplishing in our life? These are nothing comparing to Heavenly Parent. We have to always have the thought of, I need to suffer more. I need to work harder. I need to give more and more every day in my life until I go to the spiritual world. Nothing can compare. Nothing can pay the grace, the love, the blessings that the Heavenly Parents have given me, that given my family. So how can we be arrogant with this kind of mind, right? But we can always be humble after day after day after day. How can we, more, feeling down and feeling, more humble, and we want to do more for Heavenly Parents and true parents. Aju, that's why this is really amazing guidance of our beloved true parents. That's why, my beloved brothers and sisters, we have to really think deeply how precious, how blessed and fortunate we are living in this time. That's why we have to do our best to support our beloved true mother to complete the providence no matter what. No one should, fail. Everybody should be victorious. All our blessed central families, we are destined to be victorious. The fact that we have received the blessing, Aju, the fact that we have learned the principle ahead of others, Aju, our young brothers and sisters, we are all destined to be victorious. We are all destined to bring all people back to Heavenly Parent. This is our mission. We have to take the lead, no matter what. Aju, so let's really do our best. Let's work together and really, really realize all these things and really put these things deeply in our hearts and really practice a different way of life, a life in accordance to Heavenly Parents and true parents' desire. Aju, and truly become victorious sons and daughters and really become historical victors, heavenly soldiers that will be remembered from generation to generation, that can really make our descendants proud and happy, and especially make our Heavenly Parents and true parents proud of us. Aju, Aju. So with this amazing blessing today, let's really determine to work harder. Yeah, today, as we have discussed yesterday about enjoying nature. So we have some brothers and sisters today enjoying the ocean. Our brothers and sisters from NTC today, they are in the beach in Real Quezon. Also, my children are excited. We want to follow there. So really amazing, our beloved Heavenly Parent and true parents. So let's really, really, really open our mind, our heart, and really feel this God's amazing grace and blessing given to us. And every day, let's work harder and let's really do our best to offer great victory to Heavenly Parent and true parents. So once again, thank you so much to all our blessed central families, all our leaders and brothers and sisters. Let's really do our best. I really pray for God's blessing to be with all your families. May Heavenly Parents' blessing and love be with you all. Kamsahamnida. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halag. Let us give a hand to our national leader. And to our Heavenly Parent and true parents of words, let us give a hand to our Heavenly Parents and true parents. Thank you so much for this amazing guidance once again this morning. Thank you, Sir L.A., for conveying God's words to all of us this morning. Thank you so much. Yes. Now let us proceed to our reflection sharing. First, is there anyone who wants to volunteer to share? Okay. If none, okay, I will call from our blessed families. First, to give her reflection, let us welcome Mrs. Letty Mukubo.
Against the light.
They are in Palawan Center. Once again, let us welcome our Mrs. Letty Mukubo.
Hello, good morning, everyone, brothers and sisters. So, what my reflections all about is about the
Oh, I think they lost their connection, internet connection.
okay.
Tita Letty.
Because when I joined in the church, actually that was the time that Father was in prison. in the year 1985. That was almost father almost out in prison. So I really experienced incarcerated in Danbury, and that was after also my 7 days workshop. It was in June 10, 1985 that I really cried a lot during our outing after we finished our workshop, and that was the day that I was being awake by our true father in my dream, and he told me that he was the one who is to come, because that was the question I had when I asked our lecturer, "What do you mean to say that the Reverend Moon is the second coming of Jesus Christ?" And then now the answer those days is just only saying that, okay, just pray deeply, and then now you will receive the answer. And really, I prayed deeply that night, and in the early morning of Sunday, and that was June 1985. So Father really wake me up when brothers and sisters are very busy of preparing to attend the Sunday pledge. So as we just finished the 7 days workshop, and we are not included to attend that pledge service. And while they are preparing, I was being picked up by our true father, and he told me that, yes, I am the one who is to come. And it was just that because I have so many plans also in my life. At the time, I just graduate my college education, and I have planned to let my younger sibling to continue their studies. But I am trapped of this mind that I need to serve the Messiah. So during our outing, I was not really happy, but thinking how I could be able to attain the Messiah who is now in prison. So in the night of that, I decided to become a full time in that year. So those years, actually 1985, when I joined in the church, we have so many conditions after conditions, that we can let our true father be out in prison, because he is a living Messiah, but now he is in prison. So that was the year that I really cried a lot, and really our brothers and sisters doing condition chain prayers and fasting. We did that kind of condition when I joined in the church, and really it was not an easy for us, because doing conditions, and then now we do fundraising, and then now we are just very new. I was just very new in the church, and we received so much persecution, so much what I can say, so much rejection. And in doing fundraising that we did in Mindanao, actually I was being spanked by one German and threw saliva into my face, because of I am a member of Reverend Moon's church. So it's not easy for our time. But because of the revelation revelation after revelation that we could be able to really hear through our prayers and condition. Sometimes we are being guided, being guided in our prayers that we are in the cave that our heavenly parents guided me in that cave, and just only crying that. So I really received so much revelation these days that makes me stable in these days that we have struggles and difficulties. We That makes me reminded of the days that I joined the church, even though I faced so much struggles and difficulties in my life alone. But because of those experience that I had in joining the church and how the Father wake me up and revealing Himself that He is the Messiah. So no matter what difficulties that I already experience in my life of faith, I'm still here, even though that difficulties I experience. So humble and experiencing humbleness and weakness. Actually, I experienced during our fundraising so much difficulties that we experience that when we do fundraising those days, we just have only one way ticket, and with all the peanut bottles that we have in our boxes of peanut bottles that we bring, and no money involved in when we are going to sleep in the hotels or sleep in the transient house, we just only risk up. And so we experience that one. And during the night time, we just only do our fundraising in order that we are not going to spend money that we raise up during the day. So that is how I experience how the life of faith that we have to be humble and meek, that we have to really ask food even in the restaurant, to avoid not spending money. So this is how that test that we had at the time, that we have to be humble and meek in front of the people, that sometimes they are shouting us that you are just pretending to be a missionary, but it's not. So that kind of experience that I had. And thank you so much. That's all I can really share about. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Tita Letty, for sharing your reflection. Let us give a hand to our Tita Letty Mukubo. Thank you so much po for all your hard work and sacrifices. Thank you so much po. Now to give another reflection, let us welcome Brother Harold J. Lagrosa.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me po?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning, our dearest Heavenly Parent and our victorious true parents. So thank you so much, Sir LA, our national leader, for giving this word for us. So we really reflect so much in this kind of words. So as young people, so especially we are from Palawan, so we're really grateful from the leaders here. And of course, to our Heavenly Parents and true parents. And I'm really reflecting so much from this point that I'm so grateful as young people, even though I still need to do more and I still need to do in my responsibility. I'm really lucky because in my young age, I know this word, and I'm really wanting and I'm really determined on how I can really fulfill this kind of missions that we have, most especially our responsibility. So I remember also the time that I'm entering in this movement. So our family also is the member of this movement here in Palawan. So they're the one really that invite us. But before I, as young people, I have my own thinking also, selfish desire that I don't want to come here So I don't want to experience like this kind of mission. But I realized that I'm already here. So I'm really reflecting so much in myself. Yeah, this is the mission that I need. This is the mission that I need to experience the heart of God. That I need to experience the heart of our true parents on how they are really doing their best. So as we can understand in the providence, so our lecturer, our leader always reminding us here on how we can really center our life, check our motivation to do our responsibility, centering on our heavenly parent and true parents. That's how our national leader reminded so much for us this time on how we can be humble as a person. So we know that we have many fallen nature as in young individual. So we have many selfish desire, many things that comes in our mind. But when we receive this kind of teaching, so our mind become little by little change into something that we need to do like this kind of things. So I'm really grateful in this my young age that I could able to experience this kind of teaching and I could be able to experience in my life. And my determination is how I can really do my mission, do my responsibility that I can offer to our true parents, centering on the providence on like here in the Philippines or like here in the Palawan. So yeah, this time I'm still in the training center. So this is the very best thing for me and for us as a young people here to really experience this kind of teaching. So that's how I'm really grateful also because when I'm still in the outside, I cannot really experience this kind of teaching. So really very far, but this time I can really feel how heavenly parent and true parents love us so much. That's how I'm really grateful also in my life. So I personally want to thank to our leader here in Palawan, most especially our Dr. Leopoldo Oba, in our my central figure also, Ate Flor, for always guiding me. And then I remember this time this word from our national leader. So really, I really feels, I really touched so much in this kind of teaching. So I'm also regretting so much on my lacking that I need to do and I need to do more as my age because this is the like your mother said, this is the proper time that we need to offer my life as a young people because we have strength and we still have capability to do things. So this is the things that we are need to endure and experience more hardship in a way that we can really feel the heart of God, the heart of our true parents, most especially in how they are also doing their best and how they sacrifice so much for all humanity. So once again, thank you so much for giving me as an opportunity to realize and reflect. And I'm really willing also to share this in my other young people, especially here in our place. So thank you so much, our national leader. Thank you so much, Heavenly Parents and True Parents. That's all po.
Yes, thank you so much, Brother Harold, for sharing. Let us give a hand to our Brother Harold J. Lagrosa from Palawan. Thank you so much. And thank you so much also to our Mukubu couple and to our um, regional leader, Leopoldo Uba and Sister Flor for this morning. Yes, thank you so much. Now for our final guidance, let us welcome once again our national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halog.
Thank you very much, our sister Yab. Once again, I would like to offer my gratitude and respect to Atileti and her family, Kuya Guy, and their children. I'm really thankful for sharing your very precious testimony, Ate. And really, I could see also how much you have really worked with your husband and really you sacrifice. I met also those our beloved members who were blessed to from Africa. Also, one time I was invited in their meeting centering on America at the time, and all our sisters who were blessed to African that are staying strong and really very committed. They are really our inspiration actually. I'm really inspired to hear and to see them continuously fighting and really overcoming things and really standing for true parents. Really, you are the inspiration of young members, us. And thank you so much po, Atileti and Kuya Guy, and also Jinyong. Yeah, Jinyong, uh, Jinyong was together with me for 2 years, I think. And also si Jindu. Also, I'm really inspired with our brother Herald. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your very heartfelt reflection, Harold. You could see how happy our Heavenly Parent and true parents hearing us, our young brothers and sisters really are showing hope to our Heavenly Parent and to true parents. Our entire Palawan family, maraming salamat po. I'm really grateful to our Ate Chiumi, also our Kuya Paul, because also I could really spend some time with them, and really Ate Chiumi also guided me actually, and I really learned many things. I really pray and really hope that really Palawan can be one of our really now standing as a model also in our country. In our Philippine map, it's like a cane, para siyang yung yung anong tawag po doon, yung tungkod, para po siyang tungkod. So to help the entire nation to stand. So really Palawan is also playing a very important role. And I'm really grateful many pastors na po doon sa Palawan now are really taking responsibility. Really, I'm really grateful to all of you, sina Pastor Ramil, Pastor Cloud, Pastor Hermie, to all of you in Palawan. So anyway, maraming salamat po. We are really fortunate people. That's really always fill our hearts with love and gratitude. That's really build that community that Heavenly Parents can really always be felt by all members and anybody who will come to our community who are going to experience Heavenly Parents' love. So let's really love our spouse, our children. Really, let's really open our hearts and really build that community in shortest possible time for the sake of the future generations, our children who are now growing up. So let's really be happy despite the challenges and difficulties. Let's really always show hope and really really let our Heavenly Parent and true parents rely on us as we rely with them. Aju, so maraming salamat po to all our elders, to all our leaders, our blessed central families. Heavenly Parents and true parents love all of us, our young brothers and sisters. Let's really march forward with greater determination each day, that one day God's dream will be realized through all of us. So maraming salamat po. God bless you all. Please have a great day and please be healthy. Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much. Let us give a hand to our national leader, Reverend Dayo Angelo Halog. Thank you so much, sir. Now for our closing prayer, may I call our regional leader of Region 4B, Dr. Leopoldo Uba.
My goodness. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes po.
Let's pray. Saranghanan maboji chin champumunim. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity that we can gather and again receive this wonderful message from our true parents through our national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halog. I'll pray, Father, that really as we receive this very great message from our true Father, we can be able to continue to build your kingdom of heaven here on earth, Heavenly Father. We know that there are many things yet that we have to experience, but as long as we continue, Father, to be connected to you and to your viewpoints, and then where your love, Heavenly Father, we know that we will be able to living sacrifice, Father. We thank you so much in this generation, and many parents Father, to the transitioning time, Heavenly Father, as we are really in this season period from old history to the new history. And yet we know that we experience so many times, Father, especially when we are growing, Heavenly Father. I'll pray that we can continue, Father, to really on the goals and hopes of our true parent. But especially in these 2 years, that Mother wanted Father to it is a great opportunity, and we are so grateful, Father, that True Mother had really initiated this unification of not heavily unified Korea, not from any other political leader. This one is a great victory in this time of pandemic. I'll pray, Heavenly Father, that we can truly with our True Mother. As our many Chonbok Paul's Father already had been inducted, Father, in the world level and also in Asia Pacific. I'll pray, Father, that based on the foundation, we can be able, Father, to really create more. We could be able, Father, to have more couples and families who could really dedicate and pledge, Father, to really commit with our parents, Heavenly Father. Let it be, Father, that this 7-year course, when parents wanted to really truly be fulfilled, Father, centering on our pioneers of the Chunbok couples, on the pioneers of the young people who have really taken, Father, the aggressively and gratefully, Father, the baton of responsibility and continue to run and bring the victory, Father, for the this providence until 2027. Heavenly Parent, I pray that we could be able, Father, to gather our hearts together as brothers and sisters, centering our true Mother. And we are so grateful, Father, for the leadership of our Reverend uh, Masaichi Howard, and also our Vice President Reverend Julius Maligdan, President Ronnie Sudusta in Asia Pacific, and also our national leader LP. Together we're national leaders and be able to create Philippines as the center of the foundation for the environment of support. Yes, and the unified Korea. Thank you, Mother, for all these inspirations that we receive, that may we can really remain humble and meek, Mother, as we work hard for the establishment of your ordinance. Mother, please receive our dedication today, and thank you so much for all the blessings that you're giving to us today. I would like to pour this in behalf of our brothers and sisters, in the name of Paul and Chiumi Uba, member Chonbo family, Tengu Aju.
Aju. Let us offer our individual prayer.
Yes, Father.
us offer our gratitude to our Heavenly Parent, true parents. 감사합니다, Heavenly Parent, true parents. Thank you so much to all our leaders, elders, brothers, and sisters for joining our morning devotion. See you tomorrow. Bye.
See you.
Daghang salamat. Maayong buntag sa tanan.
Sama-sama.
Good day.